Let's go over the future of the Star Wars franchise. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, with Solo: A Star Wars Story now out in theaters and Star Wars Episode 9 releasing at the very end of 2019, and tons of other projects to come in the future within the 2020s. Now, today I wanted to go over the Disney boss Bob Iger. He is the head of all things Star Wars, even above Kathleen Kennedy, in which she is the president of Lucasfilm. Now, looking at the whole entire Last Jedi backlash based on a lot of decisions by Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, etc., and now looking at the box office results of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, looking at Bob Iger specifically, he was actually supposed to resign not too long ago, but extended his stay over at Disney. But I wanted to go over an update when it comes to the head of all things Star Wars, Bob Iger, is that he will be leaving after Star Wars Episode 9, sometime after, within the year of 2021. It said that he will be leaving the Star Wars franchise at the very end of 2021. Now, this is actually bringing up a lot of questions when it comes to the Star Wars community on whether or not this will actually change Kathleen Kennedy's position. Whoever will take Bob Iger's place, we're not quite sure exactly who his predecessor really will be, but whoever it will be, would that change Kathleen Kennedy's position as president of Lucasfilm, running the actual Star Wars brand and the tones of the movies and where they are all going? Now, I know that there's a lot of trust issues when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy. A lot of people do not agree with the direction that she's putting a lot of the Star Wars movies out there. And looking at how Solo: A Star Wars Story is performing, a lot of the media sites are, of course, reporting that the box office bombed, that it's stalled, that it's, pretty much underperforming in comparison to both Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and The Force Awakens. So as of right now, Bob Iger will be leaving after Episode 9 in 2021. Toward the very end of that year, somebody else will take his place and will in fact be the new boss of all things Star Wars. And that does leave a ton of questions open as to what will happen to Kathleen Kennedy once somebody else takes over Bob Iger. Will anything else happen? Will anything change within the Star Wars franchise when it comes to directions and tone, etc.? What's going to be planted in the movies, you name it. So looking at, the Han Solo movie, like I said in my spoilers and my non-spoilers review, I thought it was a good film, not great. I liked Rogue One a whole lot more. I know a lot of you guys out there may disagree with that, saying that it's actually a great film and one of the best films that falls under the Disney era. I would say that I enjoyed both Rogue One and The Force Awakens more than Solo: A Star Wars Story. But by no means will I say that Solo: A Star Wars Story was a terrible film. I think it was a good movie, it was a fun ride, and I gotta say, I saw it on Thursday opening night. Fun movie. I'm not quite sure how many times I'll be going to see this movie, I can't really say. But I will say this, is that it does take quite a bit of time of getting used to Alden's take on the character of Han Solo. Now, as for whoever's going to replace Bob Iger, do you think that this could very well alter Rian Johnson's trilogy and even the creators of Game of Thrones and their set of Star Wars movies when it comes to tones and what will be included in the movies themselves? Now, a lot of you may be asking me, Mike, do you agree with Kathleen Kennedy? Are you a fan of Kathleen Kennedy? And I would say that no, not necessarily. I'm not really that big of a fan of her. I think that somebody else could do a far better job than president of Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy, such as Dave Filoni. I think that Dave Filoni would be the perfect choice to take the creative lead of the whole entire Star Wars brand as head of Lucasfilm. Now, sure, when you're president of Lucasfilm, you're not in full creative control of everything, but you do have a role in it, and you do authorize some of the decisions out there, which is what Kathleen Kennedy can do right now. With Dave Filoni at the helm of everything Star Wars, I think it would be not only better for the Star Wars community, but I think it would be better for the future of this big franchise that is, run by Disney and Lucasfilm. I think that it would really point us in the direction that we all want to go. Now, some of you out there may disagree. I know that there's some people out there that actually, you know, trust Kathleen Kennedy and like what she has done so far with the Star Wars franchise, which is fine and all if you guys believe in that, but I would say that I would much prefer somebody else running all things Star Wars when it comes to the Lucasfilm level of things, which is just below Disney. I think that Kathleen Kennedy, you know, authorized some decisions that should not have been authorized for Star Wars The Last Jedi, and same goes for Solo: A Star Wars Story. Apparently, she authorized the decision for the character of L337, which I thought was a terrible character in the movie, and I'm sorry to say that. If you guys like that character, that's fine and all, but I did not like that character at all. In fact, I found the character annoying, I found it as a nuisance, and I gotta say, you know, there's a moment in this movie that made me smile once things happened the way they happened to that character. But L337, no disrespect to the actress Phoebe Waller, but L337 I think could have been left out of the story for Solo: A Star Wars Story. Drop a comment below, let me know what you think about that, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.